barbecue happy place is where you go to grill, chill, and get away from it all.
In this episode, we're staying right here in Ontario, Canada to check out our friend Tex in his barbecue happy place called Traylor Parker's Real Texas Barbecue. That's right, this barbecue happy place has got itself a name.
We had to have some hats, get our cowboy on a little bit for this one, make it a little extra special.
Give us any excuse to go with the theme and we'll go with it.
Howdy folks, I'm Tex,
Howdy, Tex.
And welcome to Trailer Parkers. Y'all come on in.
Y'all come on in.
How is this in Canada?
I know, I feel like we just zoomed over
Howdy,
to
y'all.
Ooh! Love
Okay,
the vibe, love
okay.
the decor. Why is there a Yellowstone sign on there? I'm loving it already.
Oh my god, this is so cool. I love the metal. Very rustic.
Very Texas. I think Tex had this goal in mind where you walk through these doors and instantly you are in Texas. We're not in Ontario anymore.
Now I keep forgetting that we're in Ontario.
Okay, how does this stay on?
Yeah, I'm like,
is
is this on?
Hi, I'm Tex Parker in Chatham-Kent, Ontario, and this is my barbecue happy place. This is where it started, and this is where we're at.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Wow. From where it started to where it ended up, drastically different here.
Yeah.
This trailer is so cool. I'm guessing that's where the trailer name came from. It has like a vintage vibe. It has a country vibe. They ran with this Texas theme. Nailed it.
Okay, so you can clearly tell at this point, this is not a backyard barbecue happy place. This is a restaurant size operation he's got going on. They say everything's bigger in Texas. This guy's got 2 giant rigs he's working with there. What?
Anyway.
I built my barbecue happy place because COVID happened, and prior to COVID I was here 2 years in Canada, and we were going back down to Texas once or twice every 2 months just to get some barbecue. So when COVID happened, obviously we weren't able to come and go as easily as we were before, so I decided, why not? So I built this, and it took a family effort. We basically built this from the ground up, and we had a Oklahoma Joe about this big, and we were cooking everything we could cook on it, and we started out on the shores of Rondo on a friend's front lawn who used to be a KFC, and so it was a commercial spot. So basically we were selling brisket sandwiches and pulled pork sandwiches on a friend of mine's front lawn, and then we went to a brewery, and it just kind of snowballed from there. And you know, the challenges of it were just moving all of our equipment, all our pits that we had to move, and just because we were in some different places all the time, so it was very difficult in that aspect because we were never in a brick and mortar, at least at the beginning, and we didn't really know if this was going to work or not. So we just kind of built it up, and it just really took off, and we weren't expecting any of this. The joke is, man, you just wanted to make a couple brisket sandwiches, and now we've got these 2,000-gallon smokers and we need more. So we're really excited about the direction we're going in, and we have big plans for the future for a bigger and better place than this.
Every successful story, when you just see it looking like that, you're like, that's an overnight success. But every successful story has a backstory that all starts with day one. They started with their own desire to have some good barbecue up here in Canada. Obviously, he ain't in our neck of the woods, because if that's the case, he would have come up to us and we would have served him some good barbecue. But he started with that in mind, and then look what it skyrocketed to. He got like a little autobiography of Tex there. Love it so far.
I love the philosophy of why not? Life is too short. The fact that he just said he wanted some good barbecue, it escalated naturally. He was like, why not? Why not create this giant enterprise that has 2 huge rigs attached to it now? I'm so excited to see more of his space.
I built my barbecue happy place just one piece at a time. We started with, like I said, an Oklahoma Joe that was like this big, and then we moved up to a 250-gallon, and then my father-in-law and brother-in-law helped me custom build a 500-gallon, and it was basically out of a diesel tank. And we were just flying by the seat of our pants because it was getting so big so fast, we couldn't keep up with the volume. So luckily I found some guys up near Grand Bend, Bogline Barbecue, and I found this particular tank. It's a 1,150 gallon tank, which is actually the biggest one in Canada right now. and I found it in a farmer's field, and he was going to chop it up, and I said, don't do that. So I went and got it, and I called the guys at Bogline. They said, we're chomping at the bit to do a 1,000-gallon tank, and they've been phenomenal. And when they were in production with this one, they called me and said, why don't we just go ahead and build 2? And I said, well, why don't you pay for it? But in the end, they were right, and I said, yes, let's go ahead and do it. And I'm glad we did, because we could actually use a 3rd one, particularly during the summertime, because we are selling out just even with these big monsters. So for us, you know, we're cooking, you know, a major amount of briskets and pulled pork, and all this will be for tomorrow. But this is what it's all about as far as barbecue goes, and making people happy with what we do. And it's done the traditional Texas way.
We always like to talk about stages when it comes to barbecue happy places, how it can start with a small grill or a small setup and then escalate from there. This is like stage 58. They started with a small Oklahoma Joe, then they started getting into the custom builds, then bigger custom builds. Now, Tex can say he has 2 of the biggest barbecues in all of Canada. I think that is so cool that he can say that.
Even being at step 589, he still has ways to go. He said they're still selling out.
He said that they could go for a 3rd when he was just even signing on for 1.
That is super cool. Although I can think of many features that would be my favorite thing about Texas BBQ Happy Place, I'm curious to see what is his favorite part of his BBQ Happy Place.
My favorite feature of my barbecue happy place here at Traylor Parker's Real Texas Barbecue is obviously the 2,000-gallon twin tanks. Just because we can cook an enormous amount of food for everybody, because the lines get real long, and we hate to turn anybody away, particularly because there's not a lot of places like this up here. So, and also it makes my life a lot easier, because these things run a lot smoother than just your typical backyard unit that may be this big. They're kind of jerky, but these run smooth as a Cadillac, and that's what I love about them. It's my favorite thing.
I am so surprised at that. Looking at how big that those barbecues are, I feel like that would be difficult to control temperature on that. I think that's very interesting to hear they run smooth as a Cadillac.
Yeah, you would assume that the smaller the grill, the more like on an amateur status that you are, and the higher you go up, the harder it would be. But that is interesting to learn that at this level, he's saying this is easier to maintain.
I am wondering, and I am wanting to go over to one of the lids and give it a lift, because I know in our teeny tiny little offsets that I used to think were big, not anymore seeing this.
No.
Our offset grills, the lid is heavy. So look at that thing. Look, what is that on the top to balance the lid? Imagine how heavy that is. That looks like thick gauge metal. Tex did not go cheap on these grills.
Say if I lived in this area, my favorite thing about his BBQ Happy Place is the smells that are emanating out of this place. That area, I can just imagine how far the smell is traveling. That house in the background, that blue house right there, is probably like, we're firing up again. Every day.
Something I would change about my barbecue happy place would be putting an enclosure over this thing, because obviously in the wintertime, which I cooked last winter all through the winter, the snow presents a big problem. So if we had a smokehouse and an enclosure over here, it would be so much nicer, and it would obviously be warmer, and you can hang out here, and then the crew wouldn't freeze to death.
Am I evil for thinking this? But I want to specifically drive out to Traylor Parker's Real Texas Barbecue in the middle of winter and see this good old Texas boy slinging barbecue out in a snowstorm.
Like, I have 18 layers on. I don't know how to handle this.
I think that is so impressive that he grills all winter long. Us Canadians, we're brought up that way. That's what we do.
Yeah.
But this Texas boy, he's like, you know what? I don't care. I'm going through all the winter.
That's actually something I was wondering though, just looking at this space, this outdoor space that he has. I can't believe that they don't have a roof. If they're operating all year round, that would be extremely easy for them to get a roof to cover that area all up, and it would make everybody's life a lot better.
Stage 967.
Hey.
Okay, the number just keeps getting bigger. I would love to know, why does he like to grill? As Canadians, we just assume that every Texan likes to grill, which I'm pretty sure I could assume right here.
Now you're even saying grill. I guarantee you if he was here right now, he'd be like, I don't like to grill, I like to barbecue.
True, good point.
Let's see why this boy likes his barbecue.
Yeah.
I like to barbecue because everybody loves barbecue, and for me, just the smell of barbecue just takes you back to your favorite places in time with family barbecues and being around friends and family and having a good time, and just the people that come here. You can be from one side of the spectrum or the other, but everybody loves barbecue, and we can all come in the middle and meet, and everyone's welcome here. If aliens flew down here from outer space, their first question wouldn't be to take me to your leader. They'd be like, take me to where that barbecue's at, because that's what we need to be doing right now. Because barbecue is all about family, and it's all about fun, and just the look on people's faces when they eat that first rib, and it's just mouth watering, and they just changed their whole day, and it made them happy, and that's what I enjoy about it.
You can tell he's talking from the heart, the reasons why he barbecues. On that level, you have to really love it.
I love that he's talking about the fact that barbecue brings people together. I suck at quotes, but I'm pretty sure the late, great Anthony Bourdain had a quote that was like, barbecue isn't the answer to world peace, but it's a start. Actually, I think I got that. I think
For
that's
once.
right. I think I got it for once. That's basically what Tex is saying. It brings, no matter what background, no matter where you're from, no matter what you do in your life, not necessarily just about putting a piece of brisket in your mouth. It's about the vibe and the culture and the heritage that all around it.
Way to go, Tex.
This is my favorite place to be because it's everyone else's favorite place to be when it comes to barbecue. And just when people come through here and they're so happy, and you got people coming from Toronto and Edmonton and Quebec and all these places, and it's just so much fun for me to create barbecue and something that's unique to the area, and for people to enjoy it so much, just it makes me happy. And there's nothing better than going up to a table and a parent says, my child won't eat anything but chicken nuggets and pizza, and they're over there eating rib bones and brisket and doing all the things that a kid would do at a barbecue in Texas, and that's what I love about it.
Seeing so many barbecue happy places, a lot of the time people love them because of how it makes them feel. It's their zone to get away from everybody. Tex is saying he loves it because of the way it makes other people feel. He's happy when other people are happy. He's converting kids that only eat chicken wings and pizza. We gotta get ourselves over to that place.
My most favorite thing that I've ever cooked while I've been up here with Trailer Parkers is, and it wasn't even anything on the menu, was a friend of mine who had some bear ribs, and he asked me if I'd ever cooked bear before, and being from Texas, I said, man, I've never even seen a bear before, much less cooked it. So I cooked some bear ribs, and they actually came out phenomenal. So that was a pretty cool little cook for me. And I'm not going to do that for the restaurant, but other than brisket, that was really fun. I mean, brisket obviously is the king, and I enjoy cooking that more than anything that I do, because it's so hard to do, and not a lot of people can do it. Because as I tell people, the thing about cooking a brisket is there's only like 3,000 little steps you got to follow, and as long as you follow those 3,000 steps, you're gonna have the perfect brisket. So there you go.
Now, Tex, he apologized in advance because now that this video is out there in the universe, I guarantee you there's going to be some people showing up to your door requesting bear ribs.
I also would like to try some of this lemonade. We hear a lot about that up here, yet not a lot of places have it. I would like to try that. And it looks like he's got his own barbecue rub too.
My words of advice to anybody wanting to set up their own BBQ Happy Place is don't do it. No, I'm just kidding. It's a lot of work, but if you're going to set it up, what you need to do is start slow, kind of like we did. We didn't know exactly how it was going to work or what was going to work, and you may like an offset more than you like a pellet, or however you want to do it, but you have to start slow and then build your way up, and then eventually you can have a 1,000-gallon tank, and you can be running that thing like a pit master. So for me, if you want to do this, do it slow, because it's going to cost you a lot of money. But because if I had to estimate what we spent here, I would probably say, with all the pits involved and everything that we've done, it's probably in upwards of $175,000 to $200,000.
Oh my my goodness gracious, the price tag.
Cha-ching! I could have guessed that though. On that level, you're gonna have to expect that. But those are some very good words of wisdom. You can't start at that. You gotta start small, work your way up, develop your skills, get used to the grilling process, get your recipes down, figure out what you like, what you don't like. And then, like he mentioned, maybe decide to back out if you don't want to go to that level.
You know what? I suggest to Tex, looks like he's got himself a barbecue rub. He's obviously developed a very successful business. The next thing I'm gonna put on Tex's list, book. This guy needs to write a book. He has words of wisdom that start with barbecue, but they can be applied to life. I'd read it.
I'd read it. What could be like a cool name though? Tex goes to Canada. That's not good at all.
No, it's not.
Texas man in the northern country.
Okay, I'm drawing a blank on them, so we're gonna have to go with those two.
It's a little unusual to put your own face in your own silhouette, but here we are. And people seem to like this, and they like to, you know, pretend like they're me, so it's pretty cool.
Love the outdoor sitting area.
So cool. When you go to this barbecue restaurant, it's so much more than just a barbecue restaurant. It looks like such an experience.
Selfie zone. That's a selfie zone. That's an Instagram zone. That's an Instagrammable moment right there.
If you're new here, you may not know that we love to get our groove on when we're in our BBQ Happy Place. So we like to ask every participant of BBQ Happy Place if they too will get their groove on in their BBQ Happy Place.
So far, you've just met Tex. Do you think that he will give us a little bit of, you know, a little shimmy, shimmy, shake? Because I don't know. I feel like he could go 50-50. He's a tough Texas boy. Like, is he going to give us some of that? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. This one I can't read. Normally I have a vibe. I can like see who's going to do what. Him, I don't know. He might be like too cool for school with the shades.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
I don't know.
Well, being a cowboy and the way I was raised, we don't really dance that much, but
Yeah, you do.
this
Who just called Tex out? Who just said, yes, he does. He does have dance moves.
Yeah, okay, so he's better whip him out then because I want to see him.
Well, being from South Texas and being raised with a dad like I had who was a super tough cowboy, we didn't really dance that much, and it was kind of frowned upon to be dancing around the cows. But I can give you a little bit of this, a little bit of the thumb dance, and that's about all you're gonna get.
Oh! Yes, Tex!
Enjoy it, ladies.
He did it. That's not quite dancing. It's moving around a little bit.
That's the cowboy Tex, yeah.
The thumbs, redirection.
Is this it? Am I doing it?
I think that's it.
Am I doing the Tex?
I don't think there's much to it.
A big part of my happy place is because of Robin, and she's my wife and my best friend, and we started this together. We were humping it out in that little trailer back there in the summer heat, and cooking in there and doing all the things that we were doing. And you know, at the time we were doing 5 racks of ribs a day, and we really thought we were doing something big. And now it's nothing for us to do 50, 60, 70 racks a day. And she's the one that trims them all, seasons them, and gets them put on the pit. So she's 70% of everything that I do. I just get all the credit for it, but she is the workhorse, the person who trims the briskets and trims the ribs and the pork shoulders and all that, and I couldn't do it without her. And just like with any one of my other crew, I can't do it without them either. And I'm just glad that it's a happy place for everybody.
Yes, Robin.
Robin.
Is the gal behind the man. We always say we're on a mission to get more women behind the grill, and Robin's doing just that. Tex, thank you so much for taking us on a tour of Traylor Parker's Real Texas Barbecue, aka your barbecue happy place, and apparently other people's barbecue happy places as well.
If you're not done with BBQ Happy Place, be sure to check out our friend Ioannis over in London to see what his BBQ Happy Place looks like. Check it out.